You are listening to Beyond the Life Paranormal Podcast. I am your host, Howard, as I am most of the shows on heparentalpodcasting.com. Selfish plug. Today, we're going to take a look at a few things. We're going to be taking a look at 22 Mine Road and the Mammy Thurman story. We will also be taking a listen, right? We will also be taking a look at a hunt, like I've done the last 4 episodes. This hunt's going to be with kindred spirits once again. We're going to take a break from them in the coming episodes. I think I got a Ghost Hunters and a Ghost Brothers coming up. I may even try to do a Ghost Adventures here. But, so I got this one's called Trapped in the Attic. This is about a tenement house. But I think I'm going to waste a little time by talking about myself. I'm interested in the paranormal because I strongly believe that I did grow up in a house that was haunted or tormented by spirits or evil spirits, or I believe there was one point in the house where it was really haunted. Very strong energy, very bad vibes you get from it. It scared the snot out of you and you had no why. Believe that was the source of the evil, or maybe evil. I don't know. Maybe it was just a benevolent spirit, a mad spirit. I do know strange things always happened in that house. Weird stuff. I can't confirm or deny, but I think I might have been pushed down steps when I was a kid. Yeah, and just back then, no one really thought about that crap. We joked around about it all the time. But, yeah, that was in our basement. Our basement was scary. I also believe we had some in my room, which was in basically the attic. Other than that, besides alarms being shut off automatically or things getting tossed on the floor for no reason. Other than that, that's my story of the hauntedness. And I remember all the time, I had friends and friends' family they would always scare us with the ghost stories. And there was one house, a grandma's house of a friend of mine, the basement was just flat out horrible. You didn't want to even go near the door. The door, you touch the door and you can just feel the bad energy, feel the death. You can feel ghost. You can feel that there were spirits down there. He always said it was evil spirits, bad ghosts that was trapped in the basement for a reason. So, that being said, we're going to join Amy and Adam for a hunt today. They're kindred spirits. On some of my other ones, I didn't really use names, but I don't think it's going to hurt to use the name. If they are, I'm sorry, and I will stop. So this one's called Trapped in the Attic. This is in New England. It's a tenement house. For those who don't know what a tenement house is, it's basically a 3-story house, and each level is an apartment. So there's basically three apartments in this house. The There's the bottom floor, which technically it's a grandmother bought this in 1982. She lives in the bottom. She bought it for the family, for everybody to share and think. Their parents lived there. Everybody lived there. So the middle apartment went to one of the granddaughters, and the top apartment went to the other granddaughter. The grandmother, the bottom one, has no experience. There's no paranormal stuff at all in this house. And the second floor there, things are thrown. They're hearing footsteps. The door is always getting knocked on. So he was talking about how a slotted spoon came flying out of the drying rack and hit the floor and the wall. And just eerie feelings all around. Third floor, living room. She has nothing in the living room. She's renovating, she's doing painting and stuff like that, but she doesn't have anything in the living room. No furniture, no. She doesn't even want to go into the living room. She just stays out of the living room. Her son goes into the living room and plays. But there's nothing to get her to put furniture in that place and kind of chill out. I guess they always seen a black figure sitting in the corner of that same living room. That's what the little boy says. No, the 5-year-old, always seeing shadows everywhere, shadows in his room. When Amy sat down and talked to the little boy, that's a cute little conversation. She has kids herself, so she's just communicating well with this kid. He says he sees shadow figures in his room. And he talks to them, and they won't go away. So let's see. And that's pretty much it for the evaluation. So the evaluation is key to a hunt. I think I'm going to go a little more in depth. The interviews and stuff is keys to the hunt, because you find all the hot spots. You get to know, okay, where do we gotta go? What are we looking for? They've seen shadow people in this room, so let's put up cameras in there. Let's try to catch this stuff on tape. Let's catch them talking. Let's just get down to business, and we can try to figure this out. That way, you know the hot spots. You can go there. You can do the same investigation, or you can do an investigation where you sit there and you know where to go. You can go to the living room and you know what you're looking for. You're looking for shadow people, or you're looking for just people talking. You're looking for the knocks on the wood. I mean, all these things you want to try to find. You need to experience them for yourself before you can do anything else. You need to experience these things, because a knocking on the door could be as easy as a floorboard being loose, rubbing up against another floorboard. That could sound like a knocking on the door. So they got all their plates. They're putting up cameras. They're evaluating everything. They get everything set up and they're ready for the investigation. And before they really do anything, they're looking in their cameras and looking in the boys' room. They see something moving around. they are already seeing some ghosts. They're already seeing some shadows. So they run up to the room, trying to see if they can find anything, see if it's still there. Well, it's not there anymore. But they look down. They look through the window of the little boy's room, which the window's open. The shade's open. Well, why don't you have blackout? I mean, you should have some real curtains in these rooms so you can actually block out light. Well, they look down and they see there's a utility light on the garage just outside the window. So they actually experimented. One of them went outside and walked around the garage where that light was, and guess what? It made a shadow in the room. There's your shadow. Anytime somebody walked by the house or walked by that garage, which is on the street, it's on a sidewalk, people are going to be walking all the time. Whenever somebody does that, that causes a shadow in the little boy's room. That's what I'm saying. Curtains. Put the curtains up. There's going to be no shadows if there's curtains. Anyways, so shadows in the boy's room, they just debunk that. There's nothing wrong with the boy's room. He's just feeding into his parents' terror, because they're afraid of things. 5 years old, he's going to feed into it. So let's see. Yep, that's doing that. So they decided that they're up in the room already. So, and they're doing a flashlight test. And if you guys don't know what a flashlight test is, it's where you take the expensive flashlights, the ones that have the twist tops that turns it on and on, the mag lights. Take 3 of those or 2 of those, and however you want. You lay them out on a bed, and you ask the spirit. You say, "Hey, can you manipulate these lights for us? Tell us you're here by turning one of them on." And then they'll turn on, and you can establish communication. Say, "Yeah, the one on the left is a yes, the one on the right is a no. Are you here with us?" It went off right away. One of them, the first question or whatever, she's like, "Is there any spirits here?" It went off, and then they tried to start communicating, and it doesn't do anything. So, now, part of the interview, also, going back to the interview again, I can do that. It's my podcast. Going back to the interview, the girls think it's their father. It's their father that might be haunting them a little bit, because it's his name is Jerry, so they possibly think that it's their father, which would explain a few things. But it's like, I don't know why people always go to, "Oh, it's my grandma, it's my father, it's my mother." It's like, how do you know? Is a shadow figure coming out and shaking his finger at you? No, it's not. But anyways, I'm not going to go on a rant yet. So they asked if you know Jerry, and it said no. Okay. And then they got nothing the rest of the night. So it's time for research. Then they were talking to, at one point they talked to Isaiah, Shannon's son. He said he feels unsafe in the attic. I mean, hell, I feel unsafe in any attic. That's just creepy place. Attics and basements. Attics and basements, they're paranormal central. If you think about it, if you're a spirit, and you might not know why you're still around, you might not know, you're just wandering through your life, your old life, in your house or whatever. And you got all this commotion on the main floors. You got kids. You got parents. You got the fighting and yelling, because that's what a lot of the families do. I mean, there is got to be some communication. There's got to be some conflict. I mean, that's just the way it is. So in the attic, he's afraid. I mean, basement, attic. I mean, like I said, those have got to be the hot spots for the ghosts to chill out. 'Cause they have no place. I mean, yeah, you don't want to be hanging around humans. So, that's part of the research. She talked to Isaiah. Feels unsafe and thing. Said the father was religious. Recommend using some trigger objects. There were 2 deaths in the house. The previous owner did die with a heart attack in the house. They didn't say anything about the other owner, the other person. And then there was a family living there called Kotek. And in 1960, because they bought the house. See, I didn't write that number down. My bad. But Kotek lived there. They let her. He got sick really bad, and he sold the house. And they moved out. When they moved out, 2 months later, he passed away. So it's a possibility. He did live there. This was his house. And so they decided to do an EVP session up in the attic. And with that said, they started out. They introduced themselves. This is Amy and Adam. We're up in our attic. We're here to talk to you. All this stuff. It says, can you tell me your name? And it comes back grainy, just like all the other. It says, Kotek. Yes, I'm making funny sounds. It's Kotek. And it's like, it was very grainy and it's what you would expect from a ghost. I mean, the ghost actually, it seems pretty intelligent, but the ghost, yeah, said Kotek. And then it's like, then they asked to follow up, are you Mr. Kotek? And straight up said, yes. So now they believe they're dealing with Mr. Kotek. So that was the one night. Oh, that was the second night. So at the end of second night, Adam decided he was going to just set up a recorder and just let it record all night. When they got back the next morning, they played back the recorder, and the recorder had noises on it. Like the noises of like shuffling around, like moving things. Like they were like, it seemed like they were rearranging the boxes in the attic. That's what it sounded like. Someone was picking them up, dropping them down, sliding them across the floor. And then when they went up in the attic too, you can tell that things been kind of messed with. So they checked, make sure nobody was up there, and they had their cameras on the whole time. They researched a little bit more, and they realized that Kotek did not speak a lot of English. So they decided to pull in a translator that speaks Polish, because I'll just put it, Kotek is a Polish name. I don't know if you figured that out yet. But they're from Poland. They moved over here, him and his family. They got this nice big house, living the American dream, working at a place, and just doing what he can. So it said they brought in a translator, and even the translator confirmed if he was Polish, and if he worked most of the time, the Polish men in that town worked for a place called Atlantic Tool. And yeah, he worked at Atlantic Tool. And that if he did work at Atlantic Tool, there's no reason why he needed to learn English, because everybody there spoke Polish. So he just stayed not knowing any English. So yeah, that's why they brought in the translator. And they brought in the translator and started asking him EVP questions. Okay, so they said, do you want to stay here? And it came back, yes, in Polish. So it's communication with the translator. And then the next question is, where did you work? And it came back clear, Atlantic Tool. And then the translator was like, see, it's like, and it goes, they asked, is this your home? And the answer was very angry, very coarse. And it said, no. So let's break it down. This is what they broke down. The Mr. Kotek, he's the ghost haunting this house. He definitely wants to stay in his home. He's not leaving. This is where he was attached to. This is what he worked his ass off for, bringing his family over to America and getting into policies. And, people are in his house messing it up. Of course, he's going to be a little angry. It's like, you don't have the things you're not organized. Mr. Kotek wants to be organized, so he's sticking to it. So that comes, and so they're going to suggest to the people that they clean up a little bit. Maybe get on those renovations and get that done and over with. They did when they revealed all this information to the two granddaughters, they did suggest bringing in the translator again one more time, to speak to Mr. Kotek himself. And they did. They spoke to him, and the girls were talking to him and told him that he's welcome to be at the house, and that they're going to be continuing the renovations and cleaning up and cleaning up the mess, and that they can definitely work together. So, that being said, this episode was about a lingering spirit that did not want to leave his home. Worked his butt off when he was alive. And now he's just a little bit angry, but he could figure it out. So all in all, the census for this hunt, it's a safe place. They proved that there was no shadow figures in the boys' room. Get curtains, everybody. And that Mr. Kotek is watching over them and keeping them safe. So that being said, that's the end of this part of the day. We're going to take a look at something else, but we're going to take a quick break. and we'll be right back. Hey, and we're back. All right, second part of the podcast. This is going to be about a road, a haunted road. It is haunted by a Mammy Thurman. This is 22 Mine Road in Holden, West Virginia. All right, so this is just to get you caught up. There's a ghost of a woman that was murdered and dumped along this highway, and she haunts this road from time to time. Lots of cases of people seeing her. So what we're going to do, I'm going to break her down. We're going to get into the biography of Mammy Thurman. Mammy Thurman, born 1900, died 1932, was an American woman whose slain body was found and recovered on 22 Mine Road near Holden, West Virginia, on June 22nd, 1932. The site was about 5 miles from Logan, West Virginia. She was born in Louisville, Kentucky in 1900. Turn the century. Wow. All right. Born Mammy Morrison in Kentucky, September 12th, 1900, to a George A. Morrison and Ollie, who died when Mammy was only 4 months old. In 1924, Mammy and her husband, Jack Thurman, moved from Bradford, Kentucky to Logan County, West Virginia, where Jack was hired as a patrolman with the local police department. Jack and Mammy rented a small 2-room apartment over a garage, located in the backyard of Harry and Louise Robertson's home. Robertson worked for the National Bank of Logan and served as treasurer of the Logan Public Library. Jack works nights and was under the impression his wife did not venture out after dark. This was not the case. Despite the fact that the 31-year-old Mammy was known as a good wife, a saintly woman, and a faithful church worker, at Nibert Memorial Church, she also frequented the local clubs and speakeasies. Yep, speakeasies back in those days. Yeah. Where she was known for her popularity and friendly disposition. Mrs. Thurman was also allegedly having an ongoing relationship with Harry Robertson and more than a dozen other powerful men in the county. Damn. So there were some issues right there. But that's beside the point. That should not lead up to a woman's death. Okay, death and trial. According to medical authorities at the time, Mammy Thurman's death resulted from her throat being slashed from ear to ear. Oh my gosh, that's a lot graphic. After which she was shot twice in the left side of the head. Damn. Talk about overkill. The body was found in a patch of blackberries by a local boy who then called the authorities. Found alongside the body were one shoe, diamond engagement ring, a silver wedding band, which ruled out robbery as a motive of her death, the other shoe, and her purse, which contained $9 in change. Cigarettes and a wristwatch were found 30 feet away the next day. Morticians would later uncover bloody rags and a razor in the home of her landlord, Harry Robertson, the same house co-defendant Charles Stevenson lived in as the Robertson's handyman. The manner of the brutality of her murder was a shock to citizens of the small, quiet towns of southern West Virginia. The arrest and eventual conviction of the handyman raised many questions in Logan, as the investigation involved several prominent citizens. The trial was standing room only, and many spectators brought their own chairs and basket lunches to court. So, the murder of this woman, so big in these small little towns that people brought their own freaking chairs and a box lunch, basically. That's crazy that people romanticize death in these trials. It's kind of like when back in the executions, people have to be there to watch it. That's just crazy. Do you really need to see people die? But anyways, that's just a crazy that the courtroom would be standing room only. And people are, that just drives me. That's just crazy. All right. Conspiracy. Always got to have the conspiracy. Mammy Thurman's death certificate filed at the courthouse states that she was buried in Logan Memorial Park in McConnell, West Virginia. Others' records show that her body was transported to Bradfordville, Kentucky. It remains a mystery to the day where Mammy Thurman was buried, and if the man convicted of her death was actually her murderer. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. So let's see. What's the other one I have? This one basically talks about the same thing. Mammy was a pretty dark-haired woman, housewife local, blah, blah, blah. Wednesday, Garland Davis, 32. See, this guy, deaf mute, he even brought up the color of skin of Robertson's handyman. I don't really like this thing, but the only thing is he talks about let's see, Robertson, okay. No, there was also a bullet hole in the downstairs, according to this. Blood stains on the carpet, razor blades, also front seat of the window of his car. The handyman, chauffeur, hunting buddy, Clarence were accused of murder. Robertson had readily admitted of having an affair with Mammy 2 years. The meetings were arranged by Clarence, who feigned hunting trips with Harry, then dropped him off, faked. I don't know. It can't tell if people are trying to actually say a word that's fancy or not. It's like, I'm going to be right back. So fiend is basically to pretend, to fake. Yeah. So he would fake hunting trips for Harry, with Harry, and then drop him off at a certain rendezvous point to meet Mammy. Harry was never indicted by the grand jury. Stevenson was stated and he was innocent, but was indicted and stood trial for the death of Mammy. He was found guilty. See, if he only did driving, I mean, I don't get it. I think they put that boy up to take the fall to begin with. So, and Mammy's ghost haunts the road called 22 Mine Road, where the body was dumped. She has also been seen at the top of the mountain walking along the roadway. But that isn't all. Legends of the area say that if you park at the bottom, 22 Mine Road, place your car in neutral, it will roll uphill. It's Mommy's ghostly hands pushing your vehicle. So this guy apparently tried it and said it worked. Is it an optical illusion? A mystery hill phenomenon. That's what they're calling it, made by the layout of the land. Maybe, but as my Jeep rolled, yeah, whatever. So, that's that. I got another story, though. Come on, where's it at? Okay. Oh, man. Really? All right. Give me a minute again. Okay, this is a story, and then I think I'll wrap it up after this. It was a cool night, July 2007 in West Virginia. Two of my nieces and I were looking for something to do. One of the girls asked if we can go out stir up a ghost. It was around 9 p.m. We drove around for a bit and ended up in Logan County after reading a website concerning a brutal murder of Mammy Thurman. It has been more than 60 years since the murder, which occurred in Logan County on June 22nd, 1932. Legend has it that her body was dumped in the woods along 22 Mines Road. So lo and behold, that's where we, my nieces and I, drove to. We had 2 digital cameras with us. While Tina drove Marcia, I clicked our camera at random. For most of the part, we could see just in our small screens that our digitals were orbs, distorted pictures, and glare of headlights. When we returned home and uploaded all the pictures to my computer, Marcia had turned around and snapped about 4 pictures of the back of the windshield of our SUV we were riding. The back of the windows heavily tinted. In all but one of the pictures, the only thing you can see is black window. In one of them, there were many orbs of all different sizes. In the midst of the orbs, you can see a very clear picture of a dark-haired woman dressed in black cloak. When I uploaded the pictures from my digital camera, I captured many, many orbs. One of the pictures turned out very distorted, except for the lower right corner where you can see it very plain, a woman dressed in a black cloak, long cape, sitting on the ground, leaned up against a tree with her head bowed and her arms crossed. Up to this point, I was a skeptic, but now I believe that there was a person murdered or passed away before its time and the spirit lingers on earth. Note from the webmaster, this story has been updated by the author. Okay, whatever. It's been updated by the author. So, if you look to the lower right, you can see a woman sitting there, leaning against a tree. And the second picture I'm sending was taken by my niece with a different digital camera, and the window of the SUV was moved, and the move when both pictures were taken about the same time. It was about midnight, July 21st, 2007, on 22 Holden Road. All right. Interesting story. Let's take a look at those pictures. Let's take a look at the back window. It says you can, Actually, you could almost see a figure in this one of these orbs. That's interesting. That's giving me goosebumps. That's interesting. What did he say? Lower right. Might have to ask. Again, ask. Okay, I'm continuing this talk. So, the window of the SUV, in one of the orbs, there's a woman in a cloak. I think I see that one. I think that's the one I see. I think I can. How you doing? So, let's take a look at this other picture. See, you can almost see, almost looks like a raccoon head, though. Try to look at an angle. I guess that would be, yeah. Guess that would her head's bowed down. That's trippy. And that's giving me chills. It's the first time you guys heard me say that on this podcast. That's crazy. So, maybe, I don't know. Maybe I might post these to the website or even to Instagram if I can get these photos on my computer. Or I might not want to do that because I don't want to get any mojo on it. So either way, this is Your Ghost Stories, and it's just basically the 22 Mines Road, and they'll give you, and it's right there. So, anyways, anything else we want to talk about? I mean, you guys want to throw in maybe a cryptid? I don't know. You know, I think we've done enough for the day. Yeah. So, that being said, just like to thank you for listening to the podcast. Please remember to like and share with others. Just tell us how you're doing. Get into the show page. Tell me how you're doing. Whatever. So, yep. As I'm fading out in the last of this part of it, thank you for listening. I am going to talk to you next time in a week or so, whenever I decide to. And we're going to have some funky dance going on. Goodbye.